should Lakers fans handle this moving forward?
They should be very, very worried. LeBron James at 80%, having missed the previous 17 games, still came out and damn near dropped a triple-double. So we have to understand that this is arguably the most well-conditioned athlete of this generation. If there's a way for him to be ready, he's going to be ready. If he is less than 100%, that is a problem because he's usually at such an elite status conditioning-wise. We talk about the greatness of LeBron James. What we miss is the way this man takes care of himself, his body, et cetera, et cetera. But here's the biggest reason why you should be concerned. Because LeBron James did not come to L.A. to be there by himself, devoid of that secondary superstar, to help the Los Angeles Lakers ultimately capture a championship. I am praying they get Anthony Davis. I truly, truly am. I want that badly. I think that when the Lakers are legit title contenders, it makes the league better. You know how much I love La La. That's what I call L.A., La La. Make no mistake about it, L.A. has been very, very good to me. Having said all of that, let's also understand this. In order for that to happen, the Pelicans have to capitulate. And the Pelicans, from what I'm being told, although they accepted Magic Johnson's phone call yesterday and are willing to listen to all offers because they're obligated to do so.
Why would they do that, though?
No. Exactly. They are not, from everything I'm being told, they are not going to capitulate to the demands of Anthony Davis before the trading deadline. They want to wait until this summer to hear what better offers may come down the pike. They also want to entertain the idea of seeing if he's legitimately willing to walk away from all of these dollars. Right now, he can sign a 5-year, $240 million deal. He stays through this season into next season. He can sign a 6-year deal and be the first $300 million player in NBA history. Considering all of those options, they're saying, you really want to walk away from this? Let's see if you're willing to do it.
Setting up your money for generations and generations.
Because if he were to walk away from the Pelicans and they don't trade him to L.A., but he ultimately wants to go to L.A., that's not one move costing them about $50 million. That would be 2 moves, which would ultimately cost him in excess of $100 million, money that he'll never be able to make up. So their mentality is, are you willing to do that? And I'm hearing they're willing to entertain, although my belief is they'll wait until the summer. If Magic somehow finds a way to pull this off before the trading deadline, major props to him. I'm rooting for him, but I think the odds are significantly stacked against him because it's not just about the Pelicans. It's about other teams, particularly small market teams, calling Dell Demps and pressuring him not to cave. If Dell Demps does this deal, he might lose his job.
A lot on the line. Max, where are you on this?
Well, first, let me just say it's important that LeBron gets healthy because the Lakers signed LeBron. They can't miss the playoffs that year. That's why LeBron played 40 minutes and won in overtime yesterday, last night against the Clippers. Technically a Clippers home game, but, at Staples. Because you get LeBron. LeBron does not miss the playoffs, period, and he always goes on runs. And the Lakers can't do that and miss the playoffs. That's what's significant about that. But I want to address what Stephen A. just said. The Porzingis deal, in certain respects, just lowered, I think, Anthony Davis's market, or the Pelicans' market for Anthony Davis. Now, I know they're in different positions. The Knicks foolishly believe that because they play in New York, in spite of how incompetently they've been run, that they are in the running for top free agents. If they get Durant and Kyrie or something like that, I will stand corrected and tip my cap to Steve Mills and a lot of them. But that's never happened in the history of the Knicks. They never get that. Nevertheless, they believe they have an attractive market to free agents. So they can use Porzingis to get some draft picks and really not much in return, and cap relief and a guy in the draft who they passed on in Dennis Smith Jr. They could have had at that draft. I was upset at the time. And now they got him. Big deal. It's not much. It's really not much of a return on Porzingis. They sold very low. Pelicans can't do that with Anthony Davis. They need to get stuff back because in the history of the world, no top-level free agent has ever signed in the market like New Orleans. In basketball, it just has never happened. Not a top-level free agent, right? Even in a market like Cleveland, it's never happened. Or in a market like Cleveland, it's never happened. But LeBron was there, so it changed the dynamic a bit. And Anthony Davis is not LeBron. Okay. They need to get a return on Anthony Davis. So I understand what you're saying, Stephen A. Wait till the offseason and see what's there, right? The problem is, I am telling you right now, Kawhi Leonard ain't re-signing in Toronto, and I'll bet you Anthony Davis does not re-sign with the team he is traded to unless it's the Lakers. Stephen A., you're right about Paul George. Paul George did re-sign in OKC, giving some of these smaller markets some heart. Hey, we're going to do what we need to do and what's best for us in the short run. And the team that's trading for our star will maybe try to appeal to them and keep them. The Paul George situation will be the exception, not the rule. I told you Le'Veon Bell was going to sit out the whole year. Right. I'm telling you now, Anthony Davis, if this is the way the Pelicans play it, the team that trades for Davis will be burnt. The superstar players are sending the league a message right now.
Well, listen, the superstar players can try to send the league the message all they want to, but they have to go up against a league buffered by a multitude of teams who are hell-bent on exercising their level of power and control. If Anthony Davis were a free agent, that would be one thing. But to have a season and a half left on your contract and to try to force your way out inside of a week, you got to remember, Max, he didn't come to them in the offseason and said, I want out. He waited until 10 days before the damn trading deadline and said, I want you to get a deal done within 10 days. If they capitulate to that, it sends a bad message throughout the rest of the league as far as those other teams concerned, and that's what you're stacked up against. And as it pertains to Porzingis with the New York Knicks, my only thing to you is stop sitting there and talking like you're the only annoyed, disgusted, exhausted New York Knicks fan. You're listening to a native New Yorker who's been covering the NBA for a quarter century, who has been contaminated by the moribund, pathetic circumstances of the damn New York Knicks. You ain't the only one with emotional feelings about the Knicks. I have them too. Hold on. I'll let you speak. Listen to this. The point is, at the end of the day, what it comes down to is that you have to take into account the fact that this is the one time that the New York Knicks have been in this situation, because the Knicks are like, damn it, we've lost every other way imaginable. So you might be right, but the question is, was it worth the risk to have $75 million in cap space? And their answer is yes.
They had that. They should have had that cap. I don't want to hear that.
Is if they end up this summer.